Alright guys, and welcome back to Forza Motorsport 6. This is Car Wars episode 8, and it's a follow-up to the JDM Shootout. I'm going to put both the Nissan Skyline and the Toyota Supra around Watkins Glen. The purpose of this video is to see which car performs better when fully modified and fully customised. First up is the Toyota Supra. When fully modified, this car will have 953 brake horsepower, 792 pounds-foot of torque, and will weigh 2,754 pounds. Holy shit, right. Of course, I've put a differential into this car so that we avoid the one tyre fire. We need all the rear wheels spinning up. Already we've maxed out the car's speedometer. Holy shit, the amount of fucking understeers, unreal. This video will definitely show whether sheer power or control is more beneficial for racing. I would probably go for control because this thing is fucking unreal. Holy shit. Let's see how it gets stopped. Oh, it sounds so good. However, there is a bit of understeer, but that can easily be corrected by just lifting off and continuing to turn in. Fuck, this thing just doesn't want to stop. Right. First lap, and not exactly the best. This thing just, it wants to spin the rear tyres. So much fun though. It's a really nice car to drive if you want to go sideways. Probably be more suited to the drift course. However, whenever you try to push this car hard, it isn't suited to that kind of driving style if you're trying to post fast lap times. Even through here, we're needing to kind of feather the throttle so we don't lose control through here. And yeah, the car's starting to get a bit upset whenever you try to push it hard. Still a fun car to drive if you're looking for a challenging car. Fucking hell, this thing doesn't stop. Shit, fucking hell. Whenever you've got 900 horsepower in this car, it's not exactly the nicest to drive. Anyway. Oh shit, on the grass, right. I have a feeling the Nissan GTR, because of the all-wheel drive system, will definitely beat this car around the track. You have to be very careful when driving this car. Too much power and the car will go off the track. You also have to brake very early for the corners due to the fact that this car braking, it's just, the braking performance is fucking appalling, so it's just really bad. But anyway. Shit. It's probably the easiest we've ever had going through that corner. Probably the smoothest as well. There is a degree of understeer even on these corners, sitting around about 120 miles per hour. Best way to keep the wheels from spinning, keep it in a higher gear. But then of course that's going to slow down the amount of acceleration you have. I've had to brake really early for that corner just so we can actually get in a relatively good lap time. Of course, fully modifying your car in Forza is sometimes not the best idea, due to the fact that a lower power, more balanced car will sometimes be faster than a high power, unbalanced car. I haven't actually tuned this car at all, so I just wanted to see how the actual increase in power affects this car on track, and so far I can say it's definitely not good if you are looking to post fast lap times. And we're across the finish line with a 112.977. That's really not good enough for a car that has 953 brake horsepower. But of course the car simply cannot put that power down. However, we're going to go on to the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR and see how it performs. Alright, and we are back with the Nissan Skyline GTR R34. When fully modified, this car will have 666 brake horsepower and 560 pounds-foot of torque. However, this car does weigh a lot more, and at 2,848 pounds. Please do note that this is on stock engine, and no engine swaps or drivetrain swaps were carried out. Wow, this car sounds really nice. Up through there we're carrying a little bit more speed. I was just being a bit cautious, because I very rarely drive this car with 666 brake horsepower. When compared to the Supra, it gets stopped a lot better. Of course, with an all-wheel drive system in this car, you kind of expect that. Feels a lot nicer, feels a lot more planted, and it's much easier to drive. I dare say if the Supra had an all-wheel drive system, it would probably be much faster than this car. $114, not bad. So far 114's not exactly the best. From a car with nearly 700 horsepower you would expect a lot better, but of course it's so much easier to drive than Toyota Supra, so no doubt we'll see much faster than that. Of course that won't be the case if we keep hitting into walls. 3.8 seconds faster that sector. Not bad. So easy to lock up the wheels on this car, due to the fact that you're actually trying to brake incredibly hard to slow the car down from the speed that it's carrying in the straights. Alright guys, now it's the final lap. See how fast this car can actually go. Slightly faster through that sector. Coming down here trying to brake as late as possible, but of course with this car carrying so much speed you can't really judge where the best braking point would be for this car. Okay, now we're picking up the speed again out of that corner. The all-wheel drive system in this car just makes it so much easier to do that when compared to the Toyota Supra. Now coming down the finish straight, and we're across the line with a 1 minute 10.390. It's not bad. It's faster than the Toyota Supra by about 2 seconds. Of course the Toyota Supra was a much bigger handful than the Nissan Skyline GTR. However, I wouldn't really recommend driving either of these cars if you want to set fast lap times. It's simply down to the fact that they've got too much power. The brakes aren't as good as what they need to be. If you're looking for two fast cars to maybe mess about with in free play mode or multiplayer online, and you don't really mind losing, definitely these two cars are a lot of fun. Drifting, I would say the Supra would be the best. Of course it's got rear wheel drive and it's got enough power where you can sit in 4th gear and still spin the wheels. Of course I would recommend maybe reducing the horsepower that both of these cars produce by a slight amount, and it would probably make them much easier to drive and much more enjoyable to drive. However, both these cars performed quite well. I would have to say that I had a lot more fun in the Toyota Supra than the Skyline, but they've just got way too much power to be competitive lap time based cars. But anyway guys, I'm going to stop flapping my lips. If you've made it this far, you deserve a fucking medal. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.